All right, guys, we are live. So, I wanted to first touch on, as you guys know, I'm showing the SPX here because for those who missed it yesterday, what we were playing is we were playing this potential double top that was playing out on the SPX. You guys who are following know that that's what we were playing. Not only did we have a double top potentially playing out here, but we had a lot of strong bearish divergence just kind of all through this. We were also overbought, so it wasn't super surprising once you see this lower RSI here. Although it's a lower low and that's still a lower low, it shows signs of weakness. That came through, it retested the line that we had here, and it just couldn't do it, and then from there it just broke. So keep in mind, guys, I'm going to touch quickly on the SPX, and then we'll flip over to the SPY. We are now showing some bullish divergence. We do have a little bit, not huge, guys. I wouldn't go dramatic on this, but on the 1 hour, there is a little bit of a sign of a bullish divergence coming in right here. And I find it interesting if you go into a little bit more of the TA side of it, right? Even if you just go back to this range and you pull that line up, right? We are holding that line. So what's going to end up happening on the SPX, I want you to watch for, is our Bollinger Band is red, and they are kind of tightening. But it could easily flip, guys, and so we can be overall bearish, right, for more of a longer term. But I would not be surprised if we don't get some kind of bullish push, at least to retest this area here. So if I were to trade this today, I'm going to mark these peaks. So you have a peak here, you have a peak here, peak here, peak here. Just tons of resistance all through this. And there was a level that it acted as support, right? And so if you come down and you just kind of line up as many as you can, press Option H or Alt H, and then just kind of throw that line in there. So this line is going to be super, super important because as we do find support here, if we do get a push up, it's going to retest not only this line, but you have the 1 hour 21 SMA that is going to retest. So it could be temporarily bullish to where we come up and retest this range here. And then this is going to be the huge area, because if we act as resistance like we did so many times before, then it's going to create a squeeze situation, and then it will likely collapse. But if we can hold support here, create some kind of double bottom, something similar to like this, right? Then you're going to see that momentum come in, and it's going to just explode us north. So if we break this trend line right here, which is like right at it, then it's just almost guaranteed that we're going to come down and retest this area here around 4,050. There's a couple other little spots, within here that it could find some bounces, right? But just keep in mind, guys, we're look for the RSI, to see that'll kind of tell you that story if we're gaining strength or losing strength. So, so far from this, double top, it's mostly considered played out. You had your reclaim of this side pretty much complete. We could see a little bit further. This is what I was talking about. We could see a break below this little trend line because it's not a super strong one. And then that would come into this zone here where we just have found so much support. And it could find that support again and then explode, right? Because again, this goes into what I've been talking about. Like, we can be overall bullish but temporarily bearish, right, for that gap fill. Even if we complete this gap fill, which I believe we will at some point around to 39.89, that's going to complete that overall gap fill. Then if we do complete that, we can explode north from there. And then again, we're still in an uptrend. It's still bullish, even though I'm bearish in the short term. We scalp in our room, so when you hear me say I'm only taking puts or I'm only taking calls, it's because we are scalping the short-term directional changes, not as much as the overall trend. The overall trend is more for day traders, more for investors, things like that, right? That you're trying to capture those large movements. As you guys know, trading in the room with me, the SPY can move 50 cents and we make hundreds of dollars. So, but that's kind of where I'm at on the SPX, guys. I'm going to touch briefly on the SPY because this is what we traded yesterday. You guys can see these are all bot drop indicators. I think you guys can see that on TikTok. Let's see. Yeah, you can see my whole screen. Cool. So just using the Bollinger Tracker and the Harmonic Pro, I wanted to point out this one. I don't like to usually show the Harmonic Pro on these because it can be a very noisy indicator, but man, it is so good. You can see this was the short that we were playing yesterday. We did see the short pop out somewhere in here. We took that short, that put, and we just rode this thing down. We actually, I think a lot of us closed out somewhere in here. We didn't catch the last fall because I should have caught the extra rejection here. But we were happy with it. We entered a little bit sooner. We actually caught higher in the peak, and then so I was happy with that. I mean, it was like about $550 trade. I think almost around 550. And so we were happy with that. Although you kick yourself because you missed this, but never do that, because if you do the shoulda, woulda, couldas right, you're gonna get wrecked. But it is exciting to see that our indicator caught this and threw that TP out there. And it actually hit as well as TP3, and actually if you look at the pre-market, we're in TP4. Now I will warn you, I'm going to mute this one now, so let's go to the 1 hour. So a lot more lines on my SPY, you guys can see, because I do trade this one more on options. This was kind of that localized peak that we were measuring for that double top, which played out perfect. I don't need that anymore. So I have my stuff very color coded. We did break this, retest it, and fall. This was a prior heavy resistance and support from way back. So the fact that it could not hold this one is what caused that fall to go a little further. The interesting part, guys, I want you to watch this, and I've been watching the pre-market since like 6 o'clock about 6:37 this morning when it first popped up. And we're just hanging out like here. Like we went up and then back down, then up, then back down. It's interesting because, again, if you look at this trend line right here, you zoom out like this, it's not real strong. We only have two touches, right? But we haven't retested it since here, right? It's held higher support. This is the first time we've actually retested it. So this is going to be a critical line because we have not flipped this line, guys, since 380. We have not flipped it. And so if we flip this line and we start acting as resistance, it's like almost guaranteed we're coming to at least 403. My low of low on the SPY, guys, in order for me to see a gap fill complete, I would need to see us retest, somewhere here. I would feel more comfortable closer to 400. But if we fall into this area, I will not be taking puts. I will most likely be taking all calls because last time we hit there, we just absolutely exploded. So if you do see this pullback come through over the next few days, keep in mind we're coming to the end of the month. It's Thursday, Friday. They love to dump on the markets. So and there's just a lot of news because every day that goes by with this debt ceiling crisis, right? People are going to lose less. They're going to lose more and more faith of. Or have less and less faith of the government solving this, right? Which, just is going to impact the market. It's just going to. So we are going to, as long as we stay between this red and green line, if we do a floor ceiling, it's going to create a squeeze. I think at this point, the thing you want to look at is overall what I'm following is kind of this bear flag, kind of rising channel. So we've peaked it out here twice. We have not been able to touch it up here, which would put us about 435. So we may not be done yet, right? If you look here, we did have a push. We had a nice crazy pullback from our pattern here, and then it still exploded, right? We had our pushes here. We had a crazy pullback, still a higher low, and then it exploded. So this simply could be our pullback, our retest. We could have a push up like this. We could pull back all the way to here, right? Or even all the way to here and still explode up to 430, 437. I don't know that we're going to pass this high without some crazy economic bullish backing, but just be really careful, guys, because you guys know I've been saying, like, I'm only put. This is we're getting into more of a dangerous range because you don't want to think more too bullish or too bearish because we're in the middle. We could explode north, we could just absolutely tank, right? So This is the area where I begin to take both stop loss or both puts and calls if the patterns support that direction, if the trend lines support that direction. But I'm going to be pretty selective on it. I'm going to stop out. If I'm wrong, right? I'm not going to hold that forever, because if you try to fight a trade when you're in the middle, it's just so terrible. On the larger side. Now, if you go into the shorter side, if you're going to decide to try to fight a trade, just know your range, right? Anything that breaks above these, right? I don't want to keep fighting that, because it could just go for days, right? And the same thing goes, as you pull down into these lower ranges, right? Anything past this, I don't want to fight it. So just manage your risk accordingly. So let's touch on to the Dixie. Dixie so far is doing what we've been calling for, I don't know, quite some time. It has continuing its rounded bottom. I mean, we were kind of looking at this as possibly being a handle. I mean, it could just also be just a continuation of the rounded bottom. It doesn't matter how you look at it. At the end of the day, it's still creating higher lows and higher highs. It just created another one actually this morning. So nothing super bearish popping out on it quite yet. I would anticipate we're just going to continue to do this like this unless some news comes out that flips it. I still believe we need to come up and hit this line around 104.6, and anywhere in here on the Dixie, you're going to want to be really careful on your shorts or your puts, because it's going to reject pretty hard, just like it did here, right? And that's going to cause the markets to be pretty bullish. So you're gonna get trapped. It'll be a big move. Watch this EMA here on the 1 hour. That's the 200 EMA on the 1 hour. This one comes from the zone tracker, which is the 200. As this 200 continues to push up, if you notice, we haven't even retested it since here, not even once. So I would not be surprised if we don't come down to retest it. However, if that holds the support and it could blow through this zone tracker resistance, line that it created back here, if it can blow through that, then it's certain we're going here. For me to be bearish on the Dixie, I needed to flip this 200 EMA. Once we flip this 200 EMA and we act as resistance, then that's when you're going to kind of see something like this, and then you'll start to see the lower lows, lower highs, and then we're basically just doing this, right? And then you look for some support around here. At the end of the day, we're just ranging, guys. I mean, it looks so exciting. There's so much news and hype about next bull market, next crash, and everybody's looking to make millions, right? Everybody's like, oh, let me buy my, Pepe coin so I can be a multi-millionaire, and that's not the best way to do it, because when you're doing that, you're buying a lottery ticket. You're in the hopes that it's going to just explode, and so it just doesn't end up well for most people. So that's why I try to tell people, don't swing for the fences, guys. Just scalp. We have talked about that a lot in our room. This is why we scalp, because you're in, you're out, you make your money. I may only make, let's say $500 to $1,000, right, on scalping now. But there was once upon a time, and there's many people in the room that are making, $5 to $50. Well, you take $50 5 days a week times, 4 weeks. I mean, it adds up, and this is a significant amount of money for people. So don't swing for the fences, because you swing for the fences, you may win 5, 6, 7, 8 times, but that one time that you lose, you're gonna get wrecked. I mean, I had a person that was trading way over their knowledge, and I had multiple one-on-ones that told them to please stop, like you're gonna get wrecked. And, no, Nick, no, man, I'm doing so good. I'm up like $10,000, like it's so perfect. I just got this down. I'm using my little crystal ball. And then we had one-on-one where finally they said, man, I should have listened to you. I said, well, what happened? You take a loss? They go, yeah, it's pretty bad. And I said, well, how bad? They go, I got liquidated. And I'm thinking, when you get liquidated and you, after earning 10 grand, you're just being stupid, guys. You're being reckless, and you're a gambler. You should not be trading, because you have not controlled your emotions. Those type of people, I always ask them, not only forget about the money, right? Your time. You spent 2-3 months just fighting, right, to get this money, and you give it up in one trade. I mean, you just wasted so much of your time, and for what, right? So just play smart, guys. Don't just give up your money. Bitcoin and ETH, I'm not going to go deep into because we're already here. You guys, y'all know, I mean, we called this rejection here yesterday. Hopefully you caught that short if you're following. I still believe we're in this bearish pennant. This is the moment of truth here, but we do have enough room for another oscillation. I would not be surprised. However, if we continue to hold below here, and we flip this red line here that was prior support, and we start to act as resistance, I mean, this will be that final gap fill that we've been talking about for some time, right? This could end up just kind of being a situation where we have our fall, we kind of go sideways, we have our fall, right? We go sideways, have our fall, and then explode north, right? So we'll play that accordingly over the time right now. But temporarily on the 1 hour, we are oversold, so we have room to go. I mean, we've gotten lower, so just play your charts. We are bearish, but we are also right on support where we have exploded. So be careful on your trades. So as far as the high and low hasn't changed. My high I have is around 28.6. My low is around 23.3. My more realistic, where we're going to get a decent bounce, will be around 25.2. And you say, Nick, how do you figure that number? Take the 25.2, and it's literally the tops of this prior resistance. So it's typically going to, most experienced traders or investors are going to put limit buys somewhere in here. And so when it comes down and triggers this, they play that explosion, right? And then, I mean, they just make a ton of money in one single move. So Ethereum, I'm not going to really cover at all. It's just doing the same thing that we talked about. Like we talked about, this was not going to hold. It didn't. We went up. We went over. Now we're near some support. Yesterday, my call was a retest of at least, this range here, but more likely a retest of 1800, which we got pretty close. 1810, not too bad. So let's jump into, we are in the last 15-minute section for those new to the kind of the live or the channel or the huddle, whatever streaming you're following on. This is our automated portion. So let's jump into Ethereum. I already know that I'm running it, so I'm gonna load it. For those running our automated traders, you guys know I use this as my to-do list. So I'm running ETH long, ETH short, LTC long, LTC short, SOL long, SOL short. I don't look at this. The beauty of our trading style in our community, guys, is we have automated trading that trades crypto, and we trade options. So you're earning two different ways, right? So I honestly don't even look at these until these huddles. So this is as news to me as it is to you. I feel it gives a better, more authentic reaction to my plan and how I'm going to address it. So Ethereum, you can go to the 1 minute.
1 sec.
Phones don't listen to you, right? I was not talking to you. But you can look at Ethereum coming through here. So we did take some trades, since we reset it over here. We did get our longs. We did get the long here with the 1 DCA. So we are stuck in the long, but not by far. Our entry is like 1837. So I'm just going to let it play out. We only have 1 DCA. I'm not going to add the second one quite yet. Let me think here. I may add, guys, with Ethereum, I don't mind adding that second DCA, actually, now that I think about it. But I'm not going to be real aggressive with it. I'm going to probably add it somewhere near support in here. So let's aim for, like, maybe just above it, like 1750 we'll go for. So let's go. So what we want to do is we want to create a second DCA around 1750. So I'm going to come in here. This is all I have to do, guys, to modify that. I'm already in a trade. I don't need to do anything else other than to click the second DCA. I want to see, where does that put my white line? It's going to show you a white line here in a second. It might be too far down. Let's go to 5%. It might be off the screen. Oh, not 59%. That's definitely going to be off my screen. So the eyeball's spinning up here. That's how you know it's thinking. Yeah, it was off the screen. So here's my DCA. So 1759 is where it is. I want to push it just a little bit farther down. So let's do 5.25. I don't want to be aggressive on the second one here because I haven't really seen enough yet. A little bit more. So let's do 5.5. And I'm just adjusting the percentage. This is the DCA percentage. This white line is, it's not, people get confused and think, well, it hit it and bounced and it didn't DCA. Is it broken? No, this is not a limit buy, guys. This is a simple think of it like you're drawing a line in the sand, and the ATA is not allowed to DCA until it crosses that line. Once it crosses that line, you're telling the code you can DCA if you see an opportunity for it. If it doesn't like it, it doesn't have to, right? You're just anything in this range, it is impossible for it to do it. Anything after this range, it can do it on its own. It's super smart on when it will choose to do that second one. So we're gonna just make that modification. So we have our buy, we have our DCA, and we're gonna do a second one down there. It gives us a little bit of room. So either A, we're gonna pump up, we'll get out, and I don't care, or B, we're gonna fall down into this range, and I'm okay with that as my second DCA. So keep in mind, anytime you make a change, you always have to delete your alert. So I'm gonna delete it. I just simply click these red dot or 3 dots here. And ATA, oops, I always name mine ATA, Gambit, because I like to know which one I'm doing, ETH, and then long. So I have my ATA, because that helps me sort it, keeps it on the top of all my alerts. I choose Gambit, because that's the one I'm running on this one. ETH is my pair and my direction. And then I hit create long, and my ETH is done. It's that quick. You're going to find when you run these ATAs, it seems like a lot, but you really do the same exact thing over and over again. Look at this, guys. Our short, we did our existing trade. I did this purposely because I wanted to show you guys how to get out of that. So we're gonna have to start this one back up, but I wanted to show you guys how to stop it. And you remember, guys, notice how the take profits are a lot farther. This was that example I gave you where, although my entry was 1851, I didn't want to sell it until I at least got below, 1830 or so, which was my entry we played. So it ended up selling it at like 1828. So it didn't really make a ton of money, right? But the concept of what I was showing you guys with this is that we got out of that trade and it did not trade again. That was the whole purpose of running an existing, right? So I do want to continue to run ETH. So let's go ahead and always don't be afraid to move this around, guys, so you can see what your triangles are doing. So we're going to reset this one. All you have to do, extremely simple, because we already know this trade played out, right? Now we also know that our take profits have been reset, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to reset my settings. It's a lot easier I know what they are, but versus going through and re-clicking all these take profits, sometimes it is annoying. Now, when you did reset the settings here, if you notice when you scroll down, it is going to reset your passphrase and your botjock email, so you do need to add that back in there. So make sure that you do that if you do a reset to default. And then the take profits are all reset, right? Now, when you reset the take profits, it's going to screw up how everything is, right? So you're going to start this just the same way as you would a brand new one. We are going long, actually short, right? We reset the default. See, that's why you want to be careful. So we're going short, and you can tell because the other one you can see there, we're already running long. So we're going short. You have to reset it to ETH. For those who are following this for the first time, this is literally how simple it is to set it up in the beginning. You're going to go parabolic SARS. That's my favorite strategy right now in this market condition. I don't like to do the default 2 and 3. I want to just do a 1 DCA. I'm not doing a stop loss because I'm hedging it both ways, so I'm okay with it. I put in 23. The month is 5. What I'm doing here is I'm closing out the candle. Closing out the candle is extremely important because that is what tells the ATA, I don't care what you did in the past. All I care about is that you close your trade and you start looking for a trade. All you have to do is add that in there. I'm just basing it off the exact same date. I'm basing it off of, you have your enable existing trade right here. We're not doing an existing trade, so we're going to close it out because we want to close that. What that does is now it puts this yellow triangle. The yellow triangle is basically going to make the ATA know that anything that happened before, it doesn't care. It's like a reset, right? Anything after this yellow, it will start tracking on your stats. That's why your stats are going to be 0. And you have your line. Think of it like a fresh start line, right? So we know that we're good on our settings. All I have to do is come in here and ATA Gambit ETH short, right? Actually, before I create this, guys, if you notice, before I create it, I noticed I did not delete this one. So I do want to complete deleting this ETH short before I create that so I don't get confused. And then I'm going to create that alert. And then now we are rocking and rolling. It's immediately, instantly looking for a short. I don't have to look at it no more. I can double check my settings, make sure you didn't mess up. We have short, ETH, parabolic. Take profits, I use default because I like to do the 1 minute scalping ATA. My DCA is going to stay 1. I don't have the other ones. And we did close out our candle that fast. So it's not real hard. And you're going to find, guys, when you do these, it's literally, you're doing the same exact thing over and over and over and over. So ETH, we're good. Let's go to LTC. So LTC, I believe we were stuck in a long and a short. LTC is a beast. I mean, it was just earning so well. It looks like a big fall happened. So we did get out of our short. Awesome. And not only did we get out of it, look at this, guys. We got out 1, 2, 3, 4, TP5. TP5. So that is a big, that's a big trade. So you can see it showed in the P&L there. So we got 112 now in the 9 days. So it's probably about a $50 or $60 trade on the gambit on that one, because I think we were about 40 bucks. So maybe even 70, 80. It did since then take another short, and it sold it. So just doing really, really well. Let me mute this. Oh, 104. I had them overlapped. That's why I was doing that. So we had 104 in the 13 days. Keep in mind, this one was stuck in a short for like some time, guys. And I know I had some people in the room that kept messaging me like, man, are you concerned about this short? Are you concerned? I said, no, I'm not concerned. You look at the DCA we placed, the second one based on our TA. Wasn't quite the peak, but overall, look, we didn't go back past that, right? So we did really good TA. We just didn't quite get the fall that we were hoping for quite some time. But we're good. We're back in business. Now, keep in mind, guys, when you have a long trade like that, you always want to double check your settings, because we modified this and added a 14% DCA2. I don't need to reset my chart, because this is the only thing I changed. If you don't remember what this percentage is, you can change it. But again, at the end of the day, I only want it DCA one time anyways. So I'm just going to uncheck it for now, and I'll deal with that later. So notice here, I'm glad this happened, right? Because notice how it modified, because this is where some people get confused and they go, man, my chart doesn't match what my exchange is doing. We added a 14% DCA. That is the only reason why I got out of this. If we didn't have that, right, if I uncheck it, the ATA is going to say, okay, well, if you don't want to do that, we couldn't never do it. It's not a localized code. It's for the whole span of how it's trading. So now you say, well, Nick, how do I, if I take away this DCA, how does it know to take a trade? Well, again, understanding the basics of what the ATA is trying to do. What can you do to make sure it knows it needs to look for a trade? Close the existing trade, right? So we're just going to reset it is all we do. We just come in here, 8, and then we're going to say 57. Anytime you make a change, guys, just click into like any of these black areas. And then what it's going to do is you'll see the little eyeball spin, and there we go. That's all I had to do, guys. Remember, this is your reset key. Anytime you have this yellow one, it reset my stats, everything. We're moving forward with it. That's it. So, but again, once I'm done building it, all I have to do is come into my LTC short, all right? Because that's the one that we were modifying. And I'm gonna add alerts and ATA Gambit LTC short. And our LTC short is back in business. So we are good on the longs. I don't think I have to modify anything. Nope, it's all the same. So we don't have to modify anything on the longs. Let me take a look, guys. Did we add? No, we never added the second DCA on the long, did we? No, we didn't. Let's do that real quick. I know we're running out of time here real quick, but that's okay. So if y'all remember, I was fairly bearish. So we only did one DCA. We could have DCA'd here, and it likely would have got out anywhere within these range. If you're not sure, you could always, put back the second one like this. I think it's at, actually the default is like 3. So you could put it, and then you would see, like, if you had your second DCA, would it have gotten out, right? And it would have killed it, right? So it wasn't the greatest play to not do it and just let it do what it's doing, but it's a safer play. And I'm okay with doing safer. So now what we need to do is we need to pull this DCA down to make sure that it still only displays the one DCA. So we do have the one DCA. Let's make sure it didn't throw the second one yet, because we didn't actually do it, right? So it did. So we don't want to throw that one quite yet, right? Because I'm gonna keep it fairly simple. I don't feel like doing the whole modifying existing. So to get rid of the second DCA, you just have to push that line down below these candles. So let's try it at 9%, and there it is. I'm okay with it being pretty close, guys, because I don't mind a DCA anywhere in here because that's going to bring that entry down pretty low so we can catch that bounce. So I'm going to rock with 9%. That's going to put the line like literally right here. We just want to come back and confirm, is it doing what it's going to match my exchange? It still should because you have your same buy, you have your same DCA. Notice our take profit lines are here, right? We almost hit it so many freaking times. But we did get the fall. We're going to get a nice DCA here. It's going to add some volume. This should move our entry down somewhere within this range, right? So when we come up for that retest, it should be a really big win if it hits. So let's go ahead and leave that. So again, we're going to go into LTC. What are we on? Long. And we're going to delete this. Anytime you make a change on this long, you just delete it. And we're going to take that name out, ATA, Gambit, LTC, long. And I hit create. And my long now will DCA there if it gets an opportunity. So we are done with LTC. We are at the 30 minutes, but I'm going to finish up Sol real quick, and then we will be on time. So let's go ahead and load Sol. I have no idea what Sol has been doing, so let's take a look. All right, so shorts look like they've done really well. We're actually not in a short anymore. Guys, I'm going to stop my Sol short. Don't be afraid, guys. The one thing I'll tell you when you run these ATAs, just like in trading, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, right? If you pull back into this, I didn't really even have to look at it. Can we fall further? Sure, we could fall all the way to here. But look what happened last time we fell to there. Do I really want to take that risk to ride that down, right? If I'm going to run this short, I would highly prefer it holds support here, pumps back up, gets into this range, and then I'll ride those shorts back down. But until then, I'm gonna probably either just ride the long, or I'm going to potentially set an existing on this long. So let's see. So this is the long. Did we DCA 2 yet? I can't remember. If we did, yeah, we did. So we did do a DCA 2. Not a terrible decision yet. I mean, we haven't fully crashed, right? I don't want to touch this into a DCA 3 quite yet. We can pre-add it, guys, but I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm doing a DCA 3, it's going to be like down here somewhere. So I'd probably say like 1750. So we let's just do it so I don't have to watch it because I don't really like to watch these ATAs during the day. That's the point of making them, right? So I haven't had to use DCA 3 in a while, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to add probably like 15% because I'm doing quite a bit. The multipliers that I use that controls the volume is the same. So that puts this white line about 1820. It's not enough because I'm going to be... I don't like DCing over 3 times, guys. I just don't. And so I want to make sure this third one is like a swing for the fence. It better be a dang good DCA, right? So 18 almost looks pretty good. If you want to see how that looks on a TA's perspective, just highlight over the line where you marked where you're going to DCA and go back and you can see, okay, sweet. If it comes here, it's going to DCA and that's going to give a nice explosion, right? So I'm okay with that. And then now we don't have to touch it. I'll be honest with you guys, what I'm going to probably do is Sol. No, you know what? I was going to move it to an existing trade, but I'm going to leave it because honestly, if we bounce off here and we do get out, I'm okay with riding the longs because we're going to be really low in the range. So I'm just going to leave it. That's what I'm going to do with Sol, guys. We're out of the short if you're following. I'm going to let the long ride. I'm not overextended on my account, as you guys know, because although we're stuck a little bit in this Sol one, the other 2 that I'm running are not bad. We've earned quite a bit, and our default allows us to run 2 pairs anyways with 3 DCAs, and we're not even that far into it. So we're in good shape. If you've been following along, don't stress out. Like we're figuring them out. We got a plan, and let the ATA work from there, right? Keep the purpose of an ATA is to keep your emotions out of it. Just it's strictly TA. You set it, you set your risk management, and you log out, and I close it, and I will not open this again until tomorrow. So if you're in the community, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys soon. We're going to get some trading. It's going to be an awesome day. If you're on TikTok, stand by, and I'll look